Hey, this is Tracy with Color Me This. I am on episode 131 today, working on the daily color. Yesterday was the start of the bunny. I've done a little more work on the bunny. And I might come back to the bunny tomorrow before I move on to the next pencil set. I am working on making the fur a little more realistic, and it isn't my normal paper that I would work with, nor the typical pencils. I normally do this fur technique with the polychromos. So today we are working on this lovely fall scene. It is sideways. We will see how well I can do with it sideways, because when it was vertical, I couldn't zoom in well enough because it's a longer shape. So colors that I am playing with for today, again, I won't be putting the color names because there are no numbers in the description. Instead, at the tail end of the video, like I did yesterday, I will post a picture of everything I pull. For the moment, I have these colors, all fall colors, as you can see, with a little bit of grass green, some foliage, Van Dyke brown, yellow ochre, sandstone, and autumn red. So let us see. I did research on helicopter seeds. They are maple and one other type, and the seeds all vary a little bit. So we've got a variety of maples. I've got some images here getting some colors. I wanted to do fall colors. So these are fall colored maple seeds that I have always called helicopter seeds. And they actually are, if I go, I'm going to see if I can get you the other names. They're called Samara. They are, there's a sycamore. Trees in Europe have a similar shape. Some of the shapes are more horizontal, others are more upside down V. This shape actually is not as V-shaped as the maple seed is. So I suspect that this might be a sycamore shaped seed. But I do see some very pretty fall colors, so I am going to go with them. Right now, I'm holding all 6 of these in my hand because I plan on moving around color to color fairly often as I try to map out the variations in the leaves. I am doing fairly light layers. These pencils do not require a lot of layering before they will go slick or get that burnished, shiny look to them. Again, they're sort of a beefy feeling pencil with a thicker core, and they are not, what are they like? They're not silky, though they're on the silkier side. And when I'm going to a lighter yellow here. As you add more layers, they start to make a weird little ticking sound where the core is like rubbing. And I could see where some people who really like that buttery soft wax feel might find these off-putting a little bit. certainly a little bit of an adjustment to get used to, and they are not the silky polychromos feel of like a harder pencil. So they're kind of a tweener between the hard and soft. And they do have some of the more pigmented colors. Error on the side of a little bit on the chalky side. Probably because of how much pigment, as you get to the darker colors and the darker tones, they get more pigment in them to get that darker tone. So I am thinking of the veining a little bit. There's these lines hinting at lines, and yes, I'm going to be going with sort of a vertical, sort of like a petal, sort of like a leaf. And I'm just going to keep layering them up. And then once I get the helicopter seeds blocked in, I will just move to these two leaves next. And I'll just be building everything up in fall colors. I decided to rotate this direction versus the other direction. Since I'm left-handed, it just kind of felt better to me. I practiced on scratch paper each way, knowing I would want to have sort of the veining detail in there if I could. I am not sure. With the bunny, I rushed a little bit, and I will be working on that bunny, adding some more layers. That's why I thought I would. I worked on it a little bit last night and today, and then I will show you guys before the review. We might do a little bit more work with it. And even if it isn't your favorite, it is still a fun technique to just do something a little different with fur. And then, of course, with fall colors, the trick is to be strategically random. And this is me purposefully doing some lines. And this is the only red I've picked for the moment. Autumn red. I do have magenta. I thought that that might be too bright, so I will evaluate after I get more of the color down and see if I want to go deeper, because this autumn red is only going to go so dark, and then it will be done. So that is kind of the basics. And I'm looking at a variety of fall colors, and I purposely, there's some really muted soft tans, and of course I wanted the more colorful ones. Okay, so I'm gonna go I have this darker color. This is the foliage to tone down the apple green. Is it called apple? Or is it spring? Grass green. And this is the lightest of the grass green, the 70%. So these leaves, I'm going to work on having the edges have the red. Not quite as random as my tiny oak leaves. And I am following the shape I will have to share with everybody. My mom just sent me a picture. She got the book way after I had the book. She is really enjoying it and has just finished the trucks page. I'll have to ask if I can post a picture of it. I could probably put it on the blog rather than in the video. She says she finds it very relaxing. I am now moving. So that was a yellow ochre. And sandstone is next. I have borrowed Hope's phone to be able to look at images. We were supposed to have a bunch of rain come in. And I think at the 4 o'clock hour, it was supposed to be 90%. And being in the rain shadow area that we are, we hardly got any. We got a few sprinkles. I heard some thunder around us, but it just never really came here. Okay, so at the edges of these leaves, which I've kept very light to make sure it's what I want, I am going to have red along the edges. All right, now I am going to start back in the center with the grass green 70%. Now I'm just adding in some spot colors of the green. Yellow ochre. Right, I'm gonna play a little bit with the foliage, sort of olive green. Okay, moving on. I'm just slowly changing the color tones. Sandstone is going to be the most orange color. I'm not going to have a highlighted light source on this. I am going to go ahead and have there be lots of variegated color. All right, so I think the colors are about even on all three elements. I have not thought about the berries yet. So now this leaf is starting to have the tooth all filled in. And I will fill this darker orange edging. And then we will get some red. I really enjoy using fall colors. And now we have the autumn red. My current darkest color. I started edging it, and now I'm going up into the leaf veins just a tiny bit. I still don't want this to be a ton of red. Now we're moving back to our seeds. There's a lot of tooth, and I want to come in with yellow ochre, I left a lot of tooth so I could do a nice blend. adding ever so slightly more pressure now. To fill in that tooth with this yellow ochre tone. Okay. Now here's the next thing I'd like to do. I'm gonna add a little bit of the sandstone, which is my orange tone. And I even want to add a little bit of it up above here. I'm gonna grab the, I do have a brown. I haven't used the brown yet. That might be, this is foliage. This is my olive. And I'm just wanting to make the seeds look a little more aged, not so fresh. I am now going to go in over the center of these leaves, which is the youngest part of the leaf, and do a little random bits of the foliage color. There are places here where I see more of the tooth than less. And I'm hoping that wherever I see a little tooth that I put a little half circle, a bit, I'm going to add that tone of foliage in that area where I can fill up a little bit of the tooth. So there's that one done. I haven't done the red up here. I skipped it. I definitely meander around in a drawing. I'm not consistently good at going over everything in the same order. I like to do a more natural look to my drawings, so that's where I'm just filling in little bits, a little bit haphazard on purpose. I'm going to go back to the autumn red because I haven't really added much to this one, and I think it is ready. All right, so I am going to look for little places here and there that I can add. You know, maybe there's a little less tooth. Again, going for somewhat random, natural looking discolorations. I think that the leaf on the right has a little better randomness to it, this guy up here, than the one here on the bottom on the left, to my left. Okay, so I have 3 more leaves to do some randomness here. This particular leaf, I believe I am going to make it have no Granny Apple Green bright. It's just going to have this foliage for its green. And then I've got a little, this is the Van Dyke Brown. I haven't used it at all. So here I go. This is going to be my most muted leaf. Very soft, light pressure. Now, getting into the yellow. This is the ochre. Sandstone is my orange. To the Van Dyke Brown. So now I'm going to be doing some random browns on these leaves. Same up here. Going darker in these two corners, implying that there are folds happening there. Same with that leaf. I still see certain little areas where there's more tooth, and that's where I'm trying to just softly go over that area, hoping that that tooth will just pick up a little bit of the brown, not a lot of it, just a little layer. All right, I've got these last two leaves to do. So these I'm going to go ahead and do, starting with yellow, the yellow ochre. I might end up with the Van Dyke brown. My goal is to make these look the furthest along in their life, with no green. Same with these two. All right, so we are at 37 minutes. This is yellow ochre again. This is a little more serious pressure. All right, so something I could do here in our last bit of time is do a little burnishing, bringing out some of the brightness, filling in the rest of the tooth with the lightest color, which is this yellow ochre. It's going to turn the green into more the foliage tone. So I'm not going to burnish on that green with this color. Kind of going around the edges. Some of the colors are now getting blended together. I want to go in and really make this autumn red. Pop a little bit more. And 2 pieces left, the berries, which I will do a little research on, figure out what to color those. And then these little flowers. How to make them a bit fall-esque looking. All right, so the upper leaf has not been burnished yet. Now I'm going in, since I edged, now I'm popping in a random amount of some red veining. Just a little hint of it. So this leaf is the most finished. And this one up here, I'm going around the edges with the sandstone, filling in its tooth, not necessarily with heavy pressure, maybe light to medium, because I didn't want these leaves to look the same. They need to be different. Okay, how are we doing for time? 2 more minutes. And if I do any background at all on my own time, it'll be a sky. It'll be like light blue, more than likely. So it was fun since I had to do the oak leaves on that full page spread using the Derwent drawing and a few Lightfast, that it was nice to then get a chance to go in and do a more detailed. I'm coming back into with the foliage. Again, just looking for toothy areas that I can fill in, knocking back that grass green somewhat. And I think these look really good, very fall-like. So tomorrow, I'm gonna do a little bit on the bunny. I will finish off the last little bits, the flower and the berries, on my own, and you will see this finished in the weekly review. And then we switch gears. We have 2 more images on this page. They're gonna look sideways. So we got mushrooms and a fox. And I'm thinking Black Widow. So I have 2 sets of pencils, the Erogeton and the Black Widows, that have not been done. They're the last 2 sets. I don't have the complete sets of them, and I have enough now to go ahead and use them. I'm very excited about them both. So do all of the YouTube things: like, share, comment, consider subscribing. I'm loving the comments I'm getting. I've had some nice long comments where people talk about their experiences with various pencils. I appreciate your input and reading your stories. I really enjoy that. So feel free to post, and I will respond. Everything is moderated, so if you don't see your response, it's because I have not reviewed it yet, made my response. And we will do this all again tomorrow. We'll see you then.